in CAP you have the ability to easily open data editors for data in the system. So one example of such data would be regular arrays, of course. So if we create a very large array, let's say 500 by 100, and this is then a very large array, we can assign that to a variable, which we'll see shows up here. Now you can now right click and say, okay, open an array editor, and you will be able to look at it like a spreadsheet basically. And when most other people who are not CAP users work with this kind of data, is usually in a spreadsheet like Excel, for example. So I decided to show how you can extend the tool when you're working with data of a specific type. So to make this a little bit clear, let me go into a file here. So I created I took simply the latest known exploited vulnerabilities list from the EUVD, because CVEs is an interesting data set to work with. And we can open the array editor, and we can simply take this ODS file. It works fine with Excel sheets also. We drag it here, and we say we import this tab, and here we have the data from the sheet. Right. So, but let's say you're investigating the vulnerabilities in some third-party product, like say Oracle, and you want to know. Let's save this into a variable first. Put variable exploited, and we say exploited, and we can see here that we have product, so we get the product column, and we say that oh, that's a little bit small, let's make it a little bit larger. Minimum font size like that there, and we want to find the ones which is Oracle. We take that gives us a bitmap for the ones that are Oracle, and we use that as a exploited. Okay, Oracle. Vendor product, not product. Okay, vendor product. Vendor project. Project. Right. So here we have the the Oracle vulnerabilities here, and now you want some details. Now, in most what many people would do is they would open a web browser, and you would go to EUVD, for example, and you can pick one of these. You can copy that. You go into EUVD, and you would then go to search for by ID, and you will find this information. Now, that's nice, but what I've done here is that I've used a new feature. Here we have it. Okay, close this. So what I'm doing here, I implemented a function called load EUVD that loads this as JSON. I have created a form and a function that simply stuffs this information from the JSON data into the form, and then I register an output handler. An output handler is basically something that it's a regex. So if any string inside the tool matches this regex, then add this this menu entry to the user interface. Right? So the way we can do that here is inside this REPL, we can just simply right-click here, right, on one of these, and we should, in principle, get this vulnerability information. Now, the same will obviously also work from here, cell details, show vulnerability information, and it will then show that. So the actual code to do this is quite small, right? So you create the form once, and it says, okay, you have a label, you have a text, and you have a key. You have a text field with a given key, and then that key is then assigned a value using the put function, and then you can open it on the screen. Again, it looks like this. So we can see here how this is actually a 4-column, 4-row. -1 means to calculate the number of rows automatically. So we have a 4x4 array where each cell is simply a description of what goes into the cell, and it renders like this. The output handler simply is a 4-argument function with a name, so that you can remove it or change it later. What goes in the menu, the regex to check for, and a reference to the function that should be called when that menu entry is selected. And you can imagine what other features you can use here. This is a quite flexible system, and the idea is that you should have a lot more different types of things that can be put into forms, like graphs or tables or pictures or buttons or whatever. It is not meant to be a full user interface toolkit, but it's there to display simple information, and also obviously it's very simple to render the same thing in plain text or as HTML. This is also going to be added later. For now, I hope this was interesting. So I will for now I will just disconnect. Bye.